Are you ready? Welcome to Conflict Nexus Report, where we bring latest updates about global world crises and latest news. Hang tight for what we have for you today. January 8th, 2026. As the world watched, Russia launched one of its most intense ballistic missile barrages against Ukraine in recent months. Multiple cities were hit. Critical infrastructure was targeted. But this attack tells us something much bigger about where this conflict is heading. Stay with me as we break down what actually happened, and more importantly, what it means. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we break down complex global events into clear, actionable insights. Today, we're analyzing the latest escalation in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, a coordinated ballistic missile strike that hit multiple Ukrainian cities at the same time. According to reports from international media, this was not just another routine attack. The scale, the coordination, and the choice of targets reveal how Russia's military strategy is evolving as we move deeper into 2026. Let's get into the details. On January 8th, 2026, Russia launched a significant ballistic missile strike across multiple Ukrainian regions. Ukrainian air defense systems detected and engaged numerous missiles fired from Russian territory. The strikes targeted both military and civilian infrastructure across several cities. Energy infrastructure appears to have been a primary focus once again. Power stations, electrical substations, and related facilities were hit, continuing a pattern that has defined much of this war. Ukrainian air defense forces worked through the night to intercept incoming missiles. While many were destroyed mid-flight, others reached their targets and caused serious damage. Early reports confirmed casualties and injuries, though exact numbers were still being verified as rescue operations continued. Civilian areas near infrastructure and military targets were affected, underscoring the human cost of these long-range attacks. This strike came amid ongoing international diplomatic efforts and continued fighting on the ground. Its timing is critical, and it signals a deliberate escalation rather than a random act. To understand the significance of this attack, we need to look at the weapons used. Ballistic missiles are very different from cruise missiles. Instead of flying low and maneuvering, ballistic missiles follow a high-arc trajectory, traveling into the upper atmosphere before descending on their targets at hypersonic speeds. That makes them extremely difficult to intercept. Russia has used several types of ballistic missiles during this conflict, including Iskander-M short-range ballistic missiles and air-launched hypersonic systems like the Kinzhal. Depending on the target locations, longer-range systems may also have been involved. These weapons are chosen for a reason. Ballistic missiles are designed to overwhelm air defense systems. Their speed and flight path reduce reaction time, even for advanced Western supply defenses. The continued focus on energy infrastructure is also deliberate. Knocking out power and heating systems disrupts daily life, strains emergency services, complicates military logistics, and places enormous psychological pressure on civilians and the government, especially during winter. So how does Ukraine defend against attacks like this? Ukraine has built a layered air defense network that combines older Soviet-era systems with modern Western equipment. This includes S-300 systems, Patriot batteries, NASAMS, German Iris-T systems, and various shorter-range defenses. But ballistic missile defense is one of the hardest challenges in modern warfare. These missiles can travel faster than Mach 5, leaving only seconds to react. Even with advanced systems, interception is never guaranteed. There's also a mathematical reality. Even if air defenses intercept 70 or 80% of incoming missiles, a large barrage means several will still get through. And each successful hit can cause disproportionate damage. There's a resource problem as well. Interceptor missiles cost hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars each. Russia can use older or cheaper missiles to force Ukraine to burn through expensive interceptors, a classic asymmetric warfare tactic. This is why Ukraine continues to request more air defense systems and more interceptor missiles from Western allies. It's not just about having advanced technology. It's about having enough coverage across the entire country for sustained periods of time. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Why this attack and why now? Missile strikes like this don't happen in isolation. They occur against a backdrop of diplomatic negotiations, continued Ukrainian resistance, internal pressures within Russia, and the approaching spring season, when ground operations typically intensify. This attack sends several messages. It shows that Russia still has significant missile stockpiles. It demonstrates the ability to strike deep into Ukrainian territory, and it confirms a continued willingness to target civilian infrastructure as part of its broader strategy. Analysts are particularly concerned about the pattern. Large-scale missile strikes often precede diplomatic pressure or major ground operations. Historically, Russia has used missile barrages to soften defenses, respond to battlefield setbacks, pressure Ukraine during negotiations, and signal resolve to both domestic and international audiences. The ongoing focus on energy infrastructure reveals a long-term objective, making Ukraine increasingly difficult to govern by degrading basic services. When electricity, heat, and water are unreliable, civilian pressure on the government grows rapidly. The international response to the strikes followed familiar lines. NATO members condemned the attack. The United States and the European Union reiterated their support for Ukraine. The United Nations expressed concern over civilian casualties, and several countries signaled additional air defense assistance. But Western governments face a difficult balancing act. They must provide enough support to help Ukraine defend itself while avoiding direct confrontation with Russia. At the same time, they are managing domestic political pressure over costs and coordinating aid among many nations with different priorities. As we move deeper into 2026, a critical question remains. Can international support for Ukraine be sustained indefinitely? And can Ukraine's air defense capacity keep pace with Russia's missile production? These are not just military questions. They are economic, political, and humanitarian questions that will shape the future of this war. So what does all of this mean? The January 8th ballistic missile strikes represent a continuation of Russia's strategy of attrition, wearing down Ukraine's defenses, infrastructure, and civilian morale through sustained long-range attacks. Russia retains significant ballistic missile capabilities and continues to use them against critical infrastructure. Ukraine's air defenses have improved, but they face unavoidable mathematical and resource limitations. International support remains essential, yet its long-term sustainability is increasingly under strain. And the battle over energy infrastructure remains a central feature of the conflict. Looking ahead, as winter continues and spring approaches, this pattern is likely to persist. Large-scale missile strikes will remain a regular element of the war, especially against energy and military targets. For Ukraine, the challenge is maintaining both physical defenses and civilian resilience. For the international community, the challenge is sustaining support during what is becoming a long and exhausting conflict. This is not just a regional war. It is a test of international resolve, military technology, and human endurance. The outcome will shape European security and global norms for decades to come. If you found this analysis helpful, like and subscribe for weekly breakdowns of major global events. Share your thoughts in the comments on where you think this conflict is heading, and I'll see you in the next video. I didn't forget to like, comment, share, and turn on the subscribe button to be notified whenever we drop latest news.